Pursling, we're back with a much needed update about the repulsive Jenkins 5 cats, beginning with Milo. Now, for those of you who don't know, Milo is one of the 2 cats that Stephanie claims she was open to rehoming before moving out of their apartment on March 16th.
I'll do what I can to get into DMs today and try to find somebody who's trying to genuinely, in this area, pick these cats up and give them a better home. Because I really hope that that is the case, that somebody wants to, like I said, pick these cats up, bring them into a better home, and give them a better opportunity.
However, instead of accepting the many offers to take both Milo and Onyx, Stephanie decided to abandon them. Yep, you heard that correctly. Then, on March 17th, the day after the reprehensible Jenkins had moved out of their apartment complex, several locals began the search for the cats, including OHS and a lady by the name of Shaylin, who explained that the reason she waited until the jerks had moved out was to avoid a possible confrontation or worse.
As far as I know from timelines, he was dumped for at least a month outside. And so I went to the apartments where the day after that they moved out, because I didn't want to show up when they lived there, any problems. I didn't want them to call police on me or make a big deal and say, oh, stalking or whatever. So I just waited. I went exactly the day after they moved out that morning on the 17th and looked for kitties.
Now on the 17th, Shaylin, Sophie, and OHS were unsuccessful in locating the cats. However, the following morning, Shaylin would actually find Milo huddled under an overhang to avoid the rain.
I went back on the 18th in the morning around 7:30 in the morning. Right as soon as my kids got on the bus, I walked to my car and got in and drove over there. I drove around the parking lot, and then I pulled up and he was sitting outside the neighbor's house that lives next door to them. They have a little cat setup. They've been feeding and watering cats, have a little shelter. And he was sitting right outside.
Sources would tell me that the weather had been quite wet and cold, dipping as low as -5 degrees Celsius the day before. So this cat was cold, and he immediately came to Shaylin when she called to him, crying desperately.
Hi, kitty. Hi. Oh, poor baby, you are so thin.
Based on his visual appearance, Milo was very, very clearly malnourished and neglected. Shaylin would quickly scoop him up and immediately brought him home, where she set up an appointment for the emergency vet later that day.
Here at the vet. Milo. Come here, Milo. Milo, hi, baby.
At the vet, Milo was given a flea shot and a steroid.
We did go to the emergency vet today. He got a shot. They said it was a really bad flea infestation and infection to his skin, so he got a shot, and he's on steroids for his skin for the next 5 days.
That same day, Shaylin also set up a GoFundMe and an Amazon wishlist. The Amazon wishlist would be sold out within 2 hours of being made public, and within 24 hours, the GoFundMe had surpassed its goal, and Shaylin would disable it from receiving additional donations. That evening, Shaylin would briefly go live to answer some questions, open some of the Amazon packages that had already arrived, and to update everyone on Milo.
Oh, Milo. Look at him. He's been kind of rolling around, scratching his poor belly.
She also explained that Milo was to be quarantined for 3 days until the flea medication could do its thing.
We're still in the bathroom. The vet suggested that we keep him kind of quarantined for the next 3 days.
And that she to give Milo a flea bath before applying the external flea treatment, which was also recommended by the emergency vet.
A flea allergy, that's what they said. Skin infection. He got a shot for the fleas and any type of worms and stuff like that. And then he also got a flea treatment that he will be getting after he gets his bath. I haven't given him a bath yet. I'm waiting on the Amazon bath thing to come so I can give him one without him kind of scratching me. And then He is on a steroid for 5 days for his skin allergy to help the itching and stuff like that.
On top of all of that, she also would order for Milo a cone and a pair of surgical jammies to help minimize the licking and scratching, as Milo was covered in sores.
Chicken foot. Oop. Chicken foot number 2. That's such a good boy. Yeah. You put your little outfit on. Where mommy put your treats? Look at. Okay. Yep.
Most notably on his belly and on the back of his legs, which were basically licked raw.
So I just wanted to give an update on his skin. I have noticed a difference since we went to the vet. It looks like his sores are kind of starting to scab, and they're not as red and irritated. His skin isn't as red and irritated.
Shaylin also made it clear that she fully intends to keep Milo, that this is his forever home now.
Don't plan on giving him to anybody, or, we rescued him and we're gonna love him and care for him and continue to update you guys on him. And on his progress, and hopefully he can get back healthy soon.
On the 23rd, Milo would see a family vet to establish care and to also get him microchipped.
He's doing amazing. Okay, so he got, I got a 3-pack of his Revolution flea medication. He got chipped today. So this is the chip information. He's chipped. He's officially mine. Officially part of our family.
This vet appointment also involved vaccinations and an ear cleaning. Unfortunately, the vet was unable to fully clean Milo's ears, and according to this vet, Milo actually has a slight infection in his ears.
I have the paperwork. He had the exam. He had a nail trim. He had a catology ear /ear clean. They could not clean his ears all the way. The doctor did call. I posted it on my story. Doctor called. He has a ear infection with bacteria, mild ear infection, deep earwax plugs in both ears against his eardrums. This is the doctor wrote. He got the rabies vaccine. I got a little certificate stating he has his the rabies vaccine. He had the FVRCP vaccine, 3-year FELV PureVax vaccine. He had the FELV/FIV SNAP test. He had a urinalysis. Which is the add-on a pick list link. Add-on leukemia/FIB. That is the blood work. So the urinalysis and the blood work will come back in a couple days. I will keep everyone updated, regardless if it's something bad happened or if he's okay.
He will also require a follow-up appointment with a dermatologist about his skin and presumably his flea allergy.
They referred us to dermatology, so he needs to go see a dermatologist to get those cleaned out. And so I will keep you guys updated. I need to call these places and get that appointment set so he can get a little bit more comfortable.
What's notable about Milo is that within barely a week, he has shown incredible improvement. His fur has already started to grow back. He's putting on weight, and he's just the sweetest cat boy ever.
Oh. Hello. Okay, God, can you back up? Look, I got treats. Can we back up? Come on. This is the first time I've ever seen him at the door. Hello. I got you some stuff.
It's also super obvious from the way that Milo looks at Shaylin that he feels immense love and adoration for her. His body language is that of a cat that feels safe, trusts Shaylin, and has just a lot of gratitude. This is one very happy boy.
Hi, baby. They said it looks like a really bad flea allergy. lots of loves. He loves to be, he's been kind of just staying by me. He literally won't leave my side. Hi, baby.
So it's not surprising, then, that his whole story has caught a lot of attention, with Shaylin's TikTok growing from 600 followers the morning that she found Milo to well over 65,000 and counting. And with so many people following his story, Shaylin has actually repurposed her TikTok so that she can share and document Milo's journey with everyone. And you can follow him over on TikTok at Milo's Journey. As for the other cats, well, their stories aren't nearly as happy as Milo's. For example, currently, we don't know for sure if Conscious, Stephanie's black female cat, was adopted by a neighbor or not. As of the 5 cats that the reprehensible Jenkins had, Conscious was the cat that Stephanie actually brought with her to Drew's back in 2022 when she first moved in.
Prior to me and Drew getting together, I had one cat and he had one cat. The cat that he had was a stray that came in from outside, and the cat that I had was a cat that I received from a friend.
According to her mother, Maurice, Conscious was actually her cat prior to Stephanie moving in with her. As for who has Conscious now, originally Sophie says that she was told that one of the neighbors had adopted her. However, Shaylin says that she was given 2 conflicting stories, and that the neighbor in question might actually just be caring for Conscious, and that's it.
The black one I was told was taken in by a neighbor, but then I was told that the cat actually was just being cared by the neighbor and it actually wasn't taken in. And yesterday morning, I didn't take the cat because I was just kind of wasn't sure if that was one of the cats. I didn't want to take a random neighbor's cat. I went back and knocked on the door and looked for a cat again. The cat wasn't there. The neighbor didn't answer because I just wanted to make sure I wanted to make sure I didn't take anyone's cat.
Whatever the case, OHS is aware of the dubious nature of Conscious's ownership. Shaylin also posted an update to her TikTok stories Sunday, letting everyone know that OHS and Animal Control had picked up a few cats from the property. So I'm assuming, or at least hoping, that they would have confirmed whether Conscious was adopted by a neighbor or not. As for Jasper, both Shaylin and Sophie have confirmed that he was definitely adopted by a neighbor.
Maintenance said that one of the cats was taken in, the striped one I think it was.
However, the kitten that was featured in the reviled Jenkins content last fall still remains an unknown. We don't know if the jackasses dumped the kitten at some point between October and March, if it's still hanging around the apartment complex and was subsequently picked up by Animal Control, or worse, if it passed away for some reason. We don't know. And Stephanie won't even acknowledge the kitten, so it doesn't bode well. Which brings me to Onyx, the cat that Stephanie said she was willing to rehome before moving out, and then didn't. Onyx has been missing for almost a month, if not longer. Basically, at least since Stephanie kicked the cats out on March 3rd.
It's always been my opinion that if you have cats and they act like they want to go outside, let them outside. They're animals. And I don't mean for that to sound any bit insensitive. To me, it seems like you're doing the cat a disfavor when they're asking to go outside. That's where they want to be happy, and you're not letting them go.
Despite daily searches of the apartment complex and surrounding neighborhood by OHS, independent rescuers, and Shaylin, Onyx still has not been seen since Sophie first spoke to the maintenance man on March 17th. Now, it is also worth noting that on March 19th, Stephanie made this Facebook post claiming that she had actually been to the apartment complex and spoke with Animal Control. Ooh. Despite her claims, though, this is more than likely a lie, which Sophie was quick to call out in Stephanie's comments, as there's no way in hell Animal Control is going to just talk to her and tell her things when they are actively investigating her. That's crazy. Why this is interesting is that on March 21st, Shaylin messaged Miss B to let her know that the wretched Jenkins were seen by a neighbor picking up Onyx and putting him into their car.
Hey guys, Resilient Jenkins cat update. This is the latest that we have. This is non-confirmed, this is hearsay, but it's going to circulate around, so I want you guys to hear it straight from the source, which is Shaylin. I'm going to tag her below. She just went live, and then she also texted me to let me know. She went by the apartments, looked for Onyx. The manager told me that a resident told them they saw Stephanie and Drew put a cat in the car. So again, this is telephone twice, which is why we're all taking it with a grain of salt. I don't know if this is good news, but there's other channels for that. We're still sending people out. She's still walking around asking people if they've seen them, along with the black kitten that Stephanie will not confirm what happened to that cat either.
Although we don't know exactly when this was witnessed by a neighbor, it's likely that it occurred on March 19th, given that Stephanie was intelligent enough to announce that they were at the property that day. Although, it's just as possible that they went back on the 20th or the 21st or even the 18th, because Stephanie's also a liar. Still, with this in mind, the search has continued with an increased radius. Shaylin has also said that she will personally keep searching.
But I do plan on going back. I am going to go back. My search, I keep saying, my search does not stop with Milo.
Currently, it's believed that Onyx was probably dumped somewhere between the apartment complex and the Jackass's first motel. Potential routes between the two have also been mapped out and forwarded to OHS. Now, if Onyx was dumped at the motel, the first motel, his survival rate will be significantly reduced, as Sophie informed me that that area of Portland has a lot of coyotes. Despite this, Sophie did note though, given the size of Onyx, he might be okay if he's still in good health. But we don't actually know if he is or if he's also sickly, so if he is sickly, yeah. It's also speculated that Onyx may be the cat that was burned with boiling water, a rumor that has been circulating since at least the 16th. Allegedly, a neighbor witnessed and filmed Stephanie and Drew throwing boiling water at the cats to scare them away. That footage was supposedly submitted to the police and a report made. Portlanders have also been following up with all found cat posters and posts, especially those of long-haired cats, in hopes that someone might have picked Onyx up without even realizing it. As far as I know, the few leads that they have come across have been dead ends so far. So if Onyx is found alive, because at this point it's not looking super optimistic, Shaylin has indicated that she will also adopt him.
But yes, I'm going to go back. I plan on going back tomorrow. I just really wanted to focus my time and love and attention and get Milo some care today.
Now, a lot of folks have asked if animal control is doing anything about this and whether the county will be pressing charges. The short answer is yes, with an asterisk. In that, yes, currently, an investigation has been launched by the Oregon Humane Society's Animal Cruelty Unit. As far as I know, that investigation is still ongoing. According to Sophie, who works in animal rescue and has connections with OHS, this unit receives the same training as police officers. Sophie also told me that right now, the potential charges against Stephanie and Drew include animal abandonment and cruelty for Milo. It's also possible that neglect charges may also be added, depending on whether Shaylin is also cooperating with OHS, which it appears she might be, as she confirmed in her TikTok stories that she also made a report and confirmed that an investigation is absolutely underway.
A report has been made, for everyone asking. There's an active investigation going on.
Now, if neglect is also on the table for the reviled Jenkins, Shaylin's documentation from both vet appointments will be instrumental in determining the degree of that neglect and the scope of charges and fines leveled against Stephanie and Drew. Once the Animal Cruelty Unit concludes their investigation, their findings will be submitted for approval. If approved to move forward with charges, the reviled Jenkins will then be slapped with a hefty fine and/or a court summons. As for their charges, according to the Oregon Humane Society's website, abandonment of a domestic animal is a Class B misdemeanor, punishable by up to 6 months in jail and a fine of up to $2,500. Animal neglect in the first degree is considered a Class A misdemeanor, which is punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $6,250. As for animal cruelty, well, that depends on the charges and a bunch of other factors, like the fact that they filmed themselves throwing Milo out of the apartment in the presence of children. For cruelty charges, they can expect a general fine of $100 per animal. However, interfering with an investigation, like, say, going back and taking Onyx after they abandoned him, for example, is up to a year in jail and/or a fine of $6,250. If Onyx is found deceased and the repugnant Jenkins are found responsible for that death, which would be considered a malicious death, they could be facing first-degree aggravated animal abuse, which is a Class C felony. It's worth noting that the law in Oregon defines maliciously as intentionally acting with depravity of mind and reckless and wanton disregard of life. If the boiling water clip does exist and a police report was made, that will likely also be used against them to establish an aggravated animal abuse charge, likely under the knowingly tortures an animal and causing serious physical injury or death parts. The maximum punishment for aggravated animal abuse in Oregon is 5 years in prison and a $125,000 fine, or both. Finally, depending on what they're actually charged with, Stephanie and Drew will likely be prevented from adopting cats in the future, if not outright barred from owning cats completely. Now, although it is not substantiated yet, to me, it sounds like the rotten Jenkins went back to their former apartment complex and literally catnapped Onyx to avoid additional charges, to avoid being reported. The problem is that Stephanie and Drew have documented themselves admitting to not only abandoning both cats, but that they were at the property during an active investigation. There was no reason whatsoever for them to abandon their cats, let alone starve or neglect them, especially when they had many people reaching out to them before they moved, including Shaylin. They ignored every single offer for help. And worse, they lied about it by trying to say that no one locally wanted to take them, when we know for a fact that isn't true. And ever since Milo's rescue on the 18th, Stephanie has been throwing multiple tantrums about it, which we're going to cover in a separate video because it's a lot. But spoilers, there's no remorse. In fact, the only thing that Stephanie is really upset about is that Milo's GoFundMe was a resounding success and that Shaylin is getting positive attention and she's not, because she's a raging narcissist. So anyway, until then, that's it for me. I want to thank everyone for liking, commenting, and subscribing with a big, big thank you. To my mods and members, as always, you guys are rad and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!